Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Bricks, and I am here today with set number 5761, Mini Digger from LEGO Creator. This is ages 6 to 12, has 57 pieces. It's a 3-in-1 building set, and it's one of the smaller, miniature-sized versions from 2011. This costs roughly $6 in the United States. We're going to look at all 3 builds in this one video. I'm going to do it in a little bit of a different style. We're going to try to do it in a pro and con way. I'll go through the pros and cons as I've experienced them with the set. You can let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And let me know what you think about this style for future reviews. So we're going to start things off with the main model, the Mini Digger. This takes most of the pieces for the set and has several pros. It has several different ways in which you can move it. You mainly move it from here. You can make it steer back and forth. It also can roll and back up. Another pro, you can lift the front and create a dumping mechanism. So you can even have this move around if you need to store it, or if you just needed to push LEGO pieces out of the way. Another pro, I would say, good use of different pieces from this set. I mean, it is the main build after all, and definitely takes most of the pieces, but just look at the design on it. It's got a lot of different styles going on with various elements, and I really appreciate that middle build, because it's a very interesting one, and I'd like to see if LEGO can do that with more builds in the future, not only on this scale, but even other scales. That's all I have for the pros that I've experienced with this set. Let's go to the cons real quick. The steering mechanism is neat, but if you're not in entire control, you might not get this to push the way you want it to. Let's just put a block down to see if I can... Well, let's make it a little more challenging. See if I can steer it the right way. Okay, there we go. So it does take a little bit of getting used to for this mechanism in the middle. It's a little hard to tell where the exact steering mechanism would be, like what point would actually make it push the way you want it to, unless you just hold it by here and well, you can just move it back and forth like so. This would make it a little easier. But it's pretty interesting the way that it can snake around. Another con for this, since it's a miniature model, you can't use a minifigure to put in here. It's too small for that type of figure to be put in here because it's in a different scale. So that's all I have really for the cons too. Let's take a look at some of the other models. Now let's take a look at the second build in this set. This is a tow truck. And here are the remaining pieces after you take apart the Mini Digger and make the tow truck. Pros for this one, we have rolling back and forth with the wheels, and it's relatively easy. Second pro, you have a few points of articulation for the back arm, and you can actually have things attach onto it. That's pretty much it as far as a miniature model. It does look pretty good, I'll give it that as a third pro. Especially good use of some of the pieces around this area for the arm. Especially considering you're working with a limited number of pieces from the first model. It looks pretty good. Now let's get on to the cons. First con, we don't have that steering mechanism as we had in the first set. So you're only going to move this forward and back unless you physically turn it by your hands. And make that scratching sound with it as well. Second con, this does not reach all the way to the ground. So if you had a car that's lower than this point, and you try to attach it on here, it might not actually attach. Third con, you'll have to make the car work with the tow cable. Unless you take off this piece, which is part of the instructions, it might be a little hard to make a car that can attach on that pin, or even on that arm part. That's pretty much all I can think of. It's relatively simple, but it's not that bad for being simple. So let's take a look at our third model. Now we'll take a look at the final model in this set. And here's a look at some of the remaining parts to it. This one seems to look like a dune buggy, so I'll treat it as such. It could also look something like a rally car or some sort of off-road racing vehicle. You can make up your mind and let me know in the comments below what it looks like to you. We're going to start things off with the pros. You can roll it back and forth. Just like the other models, rolls pretty well. Second pro, it has a very interesting design. Something that separates it from some of the other cars we've seen in this set. And a very good use of pieces to make that design. I especially like how they use these pieces in the back that try to make a roll cage. Or at least the back end of a roll cage. And that's pretty much it as far as the features and interesting pros to this set. Let's take a look at the cons. Cons, that's all you can do is roll it back and forth. Simple, but that's really it. You don't have any way of attaching figures in here or anything else. Second con, these pieces can move up and down. And I don't think they're really intended to move up and down. I think they're intended to stay down. But if you pick it up in the wrong spot, these might move about. And you might not want that. And as a little bit of a con, I'm not really a fan of some of the open gaps, such as that hole right there. I don't know if it's supposed to be attaching to something, or maybe it's supposed to go along with that tow truck that we had earlier. And if so, it would only be going on sideways the way it was made. There's also a few gaps here and in the back that I wasn't really happy with. Not necessarily bad things, but I would have liked to see those covered up. So there we have it. All three of the models from 5761 Mini Digger. What's your favorite model from this set? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, my favorite is the Mini Digger itself. It has a good use of the pieces. Most of the pieces are used with it, in fact. I really like the steering mechanism in the middle of it, and I would love to adapt that to my own miniature MOCs. And maybe a little bit of that bucket would be useful, but it's hard to see if it can actually pick up stuff. So let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this review, if you enjoyed the style of it. I'd be happy to hear what you think. We'll see you next time with more LEGO videos. You can check out some other LEGO sets, especially from Creator, but even other LEGO themes on my channel. We'll see you next time with more LEGO videos. These were ones he made some time ago, didn't really have much in production anymore. So I kind of feel a little special with getting some of these custom printed parts for the head and the legs. The hair is your standard black hair for a minifigure.